Okay, so in this video we'll be looking at links, CSS links here, and I've gone ahead to create my index.html file and CSS file. So how does link work in HTML in general? So basically, links are like references to other pages, to another website, right? From your current website or from your current page. Think of it like whenever you click on about for a certain website, it's a link tag that does that for you. So how do you do that in HTML and make CSS work with it? Start by defining your a tag, right? This a href. Now this href will link it somewhere. Now I've created a hello HTML file, right? Does not contain anything yet, so I'll just like link to it, close it, then I'll put hello. This is an example here. So let's create a new file now. Let's create about.html. We'll not put anything in it as well yet. Let's also link it. About.html. About. So save this and reload. We have this hello and about. Now I've tested it before, that's why we have this here. Let me make changes to that. We really don't want it to show it like that. So what I'll do is create a new contact.html, and that's what I'll put here. Yeah, so this will link to contact, and here will just be contact, right? So let me do this. So there we have it, about our contact, right? So I made the screen bigger, that's why it's like that. This is how you usually look. So we've not made any style to it yet. Now that we have this here, let's click on either of these links to see what they do, right? So let's click on contact, goes to the contact page that does not contain anything. That being said though, let me create something here to make it obvious. Contact us title, no CSS, and h1 contact us, just so we know where we currently are. So there we have it, contact us. Then we have the about, same thing, about us. There we have it, and of course no CSS as well, and h1 about us. So we have those two like that. So let's go back to our index.html. Now we have those two, we have created them. This takes us to contact us. Now let's go back. Something has happened. The contact text has changed color from just pure blue to sort of purplish, right? Now why is this? We've not defined any CSS, but why did this happen? That's because your browser keeps track of every link you visit. Now the reason it does this is so that it will help you discern, okay, what links you visited and what links you've yet to visit, and keep track of this across multiple pages, right? So that being said, let's try the second one too. Loaded to about us, and it has also changed. This in a way does not look that good, right? We have this on a page, it looks weird. You notice that most links that you click on, they don't have this underline, and they don't just change color like this. They look a bit um finesse, right? That is where CSS comes in. So with CSS, you can change how these things interact. You can change how they actually look, right? For example, you can change it that whenever you click on it, the color that you show, or whenever you put your mouse over it, how it will display. Let me show an example of that, right? So of course, let's define our a tag, and we'll give it a default of blue, right? We'll just follow the convention here. Text decoration none, show what that means, and text transform uppercase. Now let's save this. Now what that does is it makes the default color for these links blue, gives them uppercase, right, and then it removes the underline. We are getting somewhere. And now when we click on it and go back, it does not change anymore. The reason this happened was because the we've taken power from overriding the default that the browser usually gives links. We've told it, you know what, we want to define it ourselves. So that's why when we clicked on the link and we went back, it's supposed to show us that we visited the contact page. It did not. That's because we've not defined the style for that. So that is where states coming, CSS states. Now CSS states are like watchers, yeah. They check for the current property of a certain tag, the current state, for lack of a better word. How does this work? Now we have four main states when it comes to CSS links. That when it comes to the A tag, you have four main ones, but you must likely be working a lot with two. And those are the two that we look at right now. The first one is the over. Now what over does is there's a situation where if you put your mouse over here, it changes the way the text looks. Mouse over is an example of state change when it comes to CSS links. And the way you can track it is by giving it a style. Right now we say we want the color to be red, and text decoration we want it to be underlined. Before it is not, and when we put our mouse over it, it does not get underlined. Now let's save that. Reload. Solve it. Now when we move our mouse over it, the color changes and it is underlined. That is what the over means. The over here is the current state of that text. We are currently hovering on that text, so we've changed the state from just static to sending sort of like an event that, oh, something is touching this text, right? Same for this one as well. Of course, you can add multiple styles to it. Say you want to like make it lowercase, you can do that. You want to change the size, you can do that. Like for example, you want to change the font size, let's say 30px, and you hover over it, see it gets bigger. Can you see? And this is just CSS, we are not using JavaScript yet. So you can do almost anything you want with it. Now let's look at the third one, which is visited. Remember earlier when I loaded the page, it showed one page as purple already. That's an example of a visited state, which means we visited that link. So it has marked it as visited, but it's not showing it here yet because we've not defined a style for it, which is what we will do right now. let me do that. Let me show you now, right? So let's say for this we want to make the color um hot pink. Yeah, something like this. Now then we want to make the text decoration underline, right? Or maybe not. Let's just say we want to make it colored only. Now watch this. When we reload, both will be marked as hot pink, and the reason for that is because we've clicked on them before. That is why it showed it like that. Now the funny thing about browser is no matter how much you reload, it has already saved it, and the way you do that is by, if you are testing, the way you have to do that is by like going to your browser and clearing cookies. Yeah, but we'll talk about that later. Let's look at other ways that we can um, style this thing, maybe make it a little bit okay. Let's say for example, let's add a new link, and that link does not lead anywhere. Here AHF AHF, yeah, it should lead to a 404 page, but the page does not exist. They'll now put 404 here, right? We have this. Of course, if you click on it, it does not exist, so it says file not found. Yeah, same as a website too. But you notice a change here. Even though we've clicked on it, the text did not change color. It does not show visited. That's because it was not able to load a page. It was not able to load a file, so it had to stay that way, right? Now let's now make this let's make sure that the user does not mistakenly click on this, right? By doing that, we'll go to our CSS, but before we do anything, we want to make sure that this tag is marked as a disabled tag, meaning a tag that is currently not usable. So let's add a class of disabled. Now when we do this, we can now come to our CSS and style it. Now we're not going to use just disabled like this, although we can, but we won't, because other times we might have another tag that has a disabled class. For that, we use our combinator CSS file, right? Yes, combinator CSS code, meaning what CSS do is to look for any a tag with the class disabled, then to apply whatever you apply it to it. So first thing we want to do is apply color. Let's apply that's still right. Yeah, let's make it as gray as possible. That's actually black. Let's see, 888. Okay, yeah, that's pretty green. Yeah, that's pretty green. But then whenever the user still brings their mouse, it still shows like they can click on it. We want to avoid that. Let's add another thing here. Let's add something called a cursor. Now you'll see more of this cursor over time when you are working with buttons, or when you're working with links as well, where you want to display sort of like a different thing to the user, to let the user know a certain state of what's going on. We'll get into that later. But for now, we'll mark this cursor as not allowed. Now what this not allowed does is show sort of like a not allowed icon when you hover your mouse over it, that lets the user know, hey, you know what, this does not go. Let's also add another thing for design sake. A.disabled over, because currently whenever a user hovers on it, it's still does the underline thingy, but we don't want it to do that. So for that, we'll do this a disabled and disabled. Then we'll put the over state. You notice that the state selectors work with almost any tag, really, so long as that tag belongs to that so long as the selector belongs to that state, rather, belongs to that tag. So a disabled, right, we are saying, okay, apply this over state style to any a tag with the disabled class. What we want to do is to do text decoration and do none, and let's take it back and reload. So it kind of shows now that, oh, this is not clickable, even though although it's still kind of clickable, because this is just HTML and JavaScript, HTML and CSS. But if the user hovers over this, the user will know, oh, this is not clickable. That is how you add cursor to your code when you want to. So yeah, that's really about it when it comes to the basics of CSS links. Of course, you can add lots of other things. You can style it anyhow you want. You can add a background and whatnot. But for now, we'll leave it like this, right? So until the next video. Let me